Good evening, everybody. Roll call. Commissioner Stinson.
Here.
Commissioner Montoya.
Here.
Commissioner Bacon.
Here.
Commissioner Mayers.
Here.
Vice Chair Scott. Commissioner Bacon. And Chairman Metcalf.
Present.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Did you forget,
You missed one.
Here. Is at the bottom?
Oh. Commissioner Bernstein, sorry about that, sir.
Here.
There it is. My glasses are only close.
Oh, the bifocal.
It's like Nick caught it.
Approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes from April 9th.
Second?
second?
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of April the 9th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. New business. Pool PD 250408. Conditional use permit application requested by Quinn Fuller and Jordan Redfield of Lion Fire Holdings for an automobile repair shop that is listed in the service zoning district under section 602B2 and 603B. As located at the northwest corner of West Prairie Lane and South Arizona Boulevard with an name of 20412-030A.
As I go into the presentation with a little bit of background talk before the meeting, I'd like to also point out that on the very last page, the special conditions apply to the CUP. It does also say any other conditions the Planning and Zoning Commission deems necessary. So with that idea in mind, when the discussion ensues, there can be a framework or reference around that. So let me present the site. The site is familiar to some of you. A couple years ago, they had come before us for a major site plan review. It's right across the street. It's a nice addition to this part of Coolidge. This location here shows its relationship to where we are here. Our land use designation shows the area up and down this side and the other side of the boulevard as downtown core. All the other areas within the yellow are the urban neighborhood. Our zoning calls out the location as a C3. You can see it in the darker color here, a little bit south of there, lighter is the C2. And we have a host of other zoning uses within the category. So we have quite a bit of variation in density and intensity as far as commercial goes, kind of living in a sense of harmony here also as a further emphasis of some of the discussion that might ensue here. So a little bit of an inventory of the buildings and the site right here. We are looking at the sites themselves, looking towards the southwest from Arizona Boulevard, This is looking at the site of the buildings, generally northwest in this direction, also from Arizona Boulevard. And here we are looking at the buildings just south, looking to the north from West Verde Lane. So you can see how the site has come into being developed from the major site plan. Now, this being a conditional use permit, this doesn't require all the bells and whistles as far as the setbacks and the numbers and things that go along with that. It, however, is adhering to a site plan standard that was approved by this body, such as, for instance, there is a 45-foot setback from this edge of the building right here to the actual property line. That was something that was required of that. That's within our zoning code that tries to take into account, once again, commercial uses that can be in proximity, as you saw on the zoning and the land use map, in quite a bit of proximity to each other, actually almost running the entire length of Arizona Boulevard. So with that in mind, this is just basically to sort of remind what the site looks like. You can see the primary entrance comes off of Arizona Boulevard. The travel lane travels between the two different buildings here for the different type of access into the buildings themselves, and then the suites. The general exiting is here onto West Verde Lane. A nice distribution of decomposed granite and landscaping. You can see the different suites and their outdoor areas of the size that they have for their staging. A little bit larger here relative to these types of buildings and their suite. and these generally, obviously, interior here. With that idea in mind, when it was originally designated for its contractor storage space, that is generally what it's supposed to be, for storage. However, because of the professionals who would be coming here to make use of these suites under that original definition, it is a given that sometimes there would be maintenance involving. So if it was lawnmowers or different things, maybe working on the engines, working on the blades, or different things of that nature, or whatever the case may be. And it's generally understood or thought that that activity would happen inside of the building for multiple different reasons, and that the storage portion is out in the back here. Now, granted, that's inherently the idea, but if there was the desire to actually specifically state that for the move from the contractor storage space to the automotive repair, but let me also emphasize this, and we've also talked with the applicant about this. The original tenant who is interested in this location here does a kind of higher specialty maintenance. It's not just a drop-by Tires Plus, people changing their tires, having spark plugs change, or buying an air filter off of the shelf someplace and going up to a cash register. They actually maintenance buses for the school district. Any of the other types of suites here, it's understood or been indicated that it would have to be something of that nature, of a limited focus on site, relative far less traffic than what would be a retail location, or even like a specialty automotive or body shop or something of that nature. Excuse me, that's a different definition than automotive repair. But it's been understood and discussed with the applicants that that is the intention of even allowing this to move forward the way that it was or is. So that's basically the proposal, what it is, the transition. It is necessary to make the designation change for the conditional use permit so that they can have that change in occupancy. So with that said, the applicants are here to answer any questions that you might have, and staff is also available to answer any questions. So I turn it over to you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any questions on the, yes?
I got a few.
Okay.
I'd just like to ask a few questions here. On on the document, under the history portion, it says the use will not have any retail operations. Does that apply to what they're wanting to do?
That is an indication, so that it's documented in the staff report, that they would not have retail operations, that they would only have the specialty type of repair. Like once, for instance, the gentleman who has the contract to repair buses, he's bringing the vehicle from off-site, specifically only him as the owner operator, the renter, and maintaining the vehicle from that standpoint or something similar. Once again, a far less intensive operation relative to what a retail operation is. So that's supposed to be the understanding.
So what you're saying is they're not doing any retail business out there at all, meaning they're not selling any labor, they're not selling any parts, they're doing it for free? Is that what you're saying?
Retail is a very broad definition in this
Yeah,
case,
I
but
know
we're
what it
talking,
is.
we're talking about a micro versus a macro type of thing. We don't have specific definitions within zoning code, which is why we brought the application of this category to it, with the understanding that that is how the site and the suites and the businesses that would locate there would be, because we will watch it, just like we have code enforcement people, keeping a very close eye on many things nowadays, not just from weeds and trash and things, but how people are using properties and things of that nature, so.
So there's not going to be any retail there? Is that what you just said? I'm looking for the simple answer tonight there, Phil. None.
We have almost 120 different types of.
No, I'm asking for this specific place. I know what retail is. I have a retail business myself.
This isn't a court of law.
Okay, go ahead. Give me the long
What I'm
answer.
trying to tell you is there's different types of uses, and they can be conditioned relative to those uses, whether they're principal uses or conditional uses. And one of the reasons why, like I said, there will be no retail operations in the manner that lower volume traffic. That's the main concern about the way the site has been designed relative to what it was for its original occupancy and what is being requested to be changed to, so that it can comply with this as far as the intensity. In other words, it's a lessening of the intensity of the commercial operation relative to if it was like a Napa Auto Parts or a Tires Plus. It's not going to be that.
Oh, I get that, but, you know, how do you sustain yourself if you don't have any retail sales? It's pointless.
Once again, it will come through the definition, through the conditions that might be put forward here, and then also us basically keeping an eye on things the way that we always do with every business in town.
I'm not trying to like beat this one to death, but why have it on there if something like that's gonna be there? Why don't you just take that part off? Because, right, you know, to me, retail is retail, and no retail
Because
is
that's the
no,
definition that we have.
okay.
Let
I
me
don't
put it
think
this
it's
way, we've
accurate.
also got a definition there, we've got development photo mats. That technically doesn't exist anymore. I don't see an unusual approach of technology utilizing that definition, but there are portions of definitions within the code that still lend themselves to the point that we can bring them forward to have standing here. Once again, as long as it's identified in the report and if necessary, also further brought through the stipulations that this body may see fit to add to it.
Okay, I have a problem with that, but we can move on.
Okay.
So from your presentation there, there's 5 buildings on the property, and they're only gonna be utilizing one building, or what would be going on in the other buildings?
There's 2 buildings and there's 5 suites. Depending on the renter, they may use 1 or 2 or multiple different ones depending on what the usage would be. But the example that we have in front of us is the Dad Bod Garage, which we know their primary work is working with buses, but they do also provide other services.
So there's, you know, you're just really vague for me tonight, Phil. Sorry.
In other
must have
words,
had a
there's
long
not
day.
customers coming to pick up their bus to drive it back to the school lot or similarities of that nature and stuff.
Right. So all the other buildings will be utilized at some capacity for their business? Yes or no?
They're meant to be, well, they could use that too, I guess, if they were gonna, in some way, but it depends on what it was. But we're bleeding over into what might be other definitions. In other words, there's 5 suites, 2 buildings that are available for lease rental that the property owners, which is why they constructed this price, or this site.
Yeah, I know why they did it. I'm just asking if these guys are renting all 5, the whole complex are they renting the whole thing? Yeah. Please
Go
come
ahead
to
and approach
the
the-
microphone, please.
Yeah,
State your name and address, please.
Quinn Fuller with Line and Fire Holdings.
Okay.
Address, we're from Queen Creek, 23431, but obviously dealing with the property here at 980 South Arizona. We've currently got 4 tenants in there right now. Possibly to answer your question, there's no on-site retail. These gentlemen and ladies who are working in here, they have their business. Of course, they have a business. Of course, they have to make a profit or else they wouldn't be able to pay the overhead on the buildings. But we've got gentlemen in there making, manufacturing custom carburetors, small carburetors. Okay, he sells them to dirt track modifieds, all online sales. Another building in there, they do what they call drift trikes, again, entirely online.
Excuse me, what'd you say? What did you say?
They make drift trikes,
Drip what?
bikes, little,
Okay.
they're little, like, almost like a quad, but kind of a specialty deal.
Like an adult toy type thing.
Again, all within the regular zone usage. And like we said before, there's no on-site commercial, no customers coming on site, walking in the door every day to make any kind of purchases or transactions there.
So you're renting the whole facility and then you're allowing other businesses to,
No, sir, we built the facility.
what's that?
We built the facility.
Okay.
We're renting directly to the tenants here for their
So-
business purpose.
What you're saying is vehicles will be brought in there for a specific purpose, let's say the buses, and they will be repaired,
And then taken off-site, yes,
and
sir.
then they will be taken off-site, and then the billing for those services will be,
I'm not going to speak to the billing. That's the individual
it's
tenant.
just fuzzy for me. It just really doesn't make much sense, but anyway. All right.
Could you say that it's like a direct contract with like something like that?
Again, I don't want to speak on too much as to what the contracts tenant that we have. We just went through and made sure that the tenants were following all the proper zoning specifications and rules falling under that. And, this is the first time we've made a development like this, so to not have this conditional use come forward possibly a month ago or so, we apologize for that to the board, but just getting through it.
So there's no point of sale system on site at any tenant.
No.
I think
it's-
that's kind of what he's trying to understand. There's not going to be a point of sale system,
Not gonna
Like-
be a cash register.
nothing like that,
No,
where
I-
somebody can come up and purchase services or purchase something like that.
right, and to my belief, all these folks are online
On-site
with their
sales.
payments and services and stuff like that.
So it is all done virtually. It is not, it would not be anywhere on site. I think that's what he's trying to get out and across.
When you go through
Just because it would increase the foot traffic and things like that in that specific area, and especially if you're gonna have vehicles, especially oversized vehicles for buses. Now they're taking up parking spots for others coming through saying, hey, I need my car repaired or something like that. There's not gonna be a point of sale system there for them to do business on. It's all gonna be virtually via either online sales, as you've already stated, or via contracts or RFPs with like schools or something.
If you want to, yeah.
And what I'm
Yeah, I
understanding
don't-
is mostly they're paying for labor. You're right, you're charging labor.
Yeah.
And whether
We've-
it's paid there or if it's paid online or credit card or by phone,
That's perfectly
that's probably
fine.
what's going to happen.
I think he's just alluding to like the point of sale system because that generates a lot of traffic.
Yeah, again, I don't want to get into the specifics of the tenant. We do have the tenants that are nice enough to come here tonight to possibly speak on their behalf a little bit more about their specific business structure. But in terms of like the buses, for example, it is specifically stated within the lease that there's not to be any kind of parking other than within their contained storage area for those buses back. That's all within the 6-foot block walled off area.
Yeah, that's my main confusion is just the way that it's written up. I'm a businessman, to be honest with you. Without retail sales, I don't exist. But it's peculiar that there'd be a business there doing something, goods and services going on your bus, but there's no retail.
Yeah, like I said,
Maybe it's just a play on the words, I don't know.
yes, and I don't want to get into specifics and speak for
Yeah, no, I'm not asking that.
here, but that's the intent of the property, and as we're bringing forth this conditional use permit here for this specific auto body repair.
So as far as you know, all of the items that would be brought for repair would just be brought left? Because there's really not very much parking there in between the businesses, is that correct?
Yeah, the parking is all designated through in the storage, and then the ones, the 3 units to the east, they have a parking spot within their unit as well as one spot out front of each unit there.
Okay. Let's see here.
Question, James, Phil, has the fire department taken a look at it and potentially identified places to store liquids, flammables, things like that, or drips?
That was all done underneath the original conditional use permit.
In part under the original major site plan, yes. But anytime that there is a new business that comes in, they're required to disclose just exactly what they have on site, how they're storing it and stuff. And soon we'll have a fire marshal and stuff, so I suppose he'll be helping out with inspections and things like that. So they would be required to disclose what their operations are and what they're storing on site and in what volume through the business license and several other things.
And separate from that, we did have I believe it's a type A environmental, where they come through the buildings with the tenants in there to take a look at specifically that, the storage of flammable hazardous materials. That was a pre-qualification for the financing
Occupancy.
of the property. So I know that's not something that's come to the board or anything like that, and it was never a request, but that is something that's been done on the property as well.
Are there going to be any major changes to that back kind of like contractor yard to the west right there back there? Like any lifts or anything of that nature?
Not within the yard, within the building.
From a,
In the building, there is a lift inside the unit,
from a.
but nothing on the outside.
Right, from an operational and screening standpoint, they wouldn't technically be allowed, other than, say like it was the vehicle, it's a little taller, like the bus or something, they wouldn't be allowed to actually engage in, activities out there for lengthy periods of time, that might be like for fabrication and things of that nature that are above the fence or for the screening requirement.
Yeah, I was just asking to see if there was going to be,
Okay.
for some reason, if we couldn't see it here, I just want to ask the question.
No, nothing was proposed.
No, and there's been no changes to anything within the yards you're speaking of there.
I got some more.
Okay.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just reading through the code here, C3. And it says for the outdoor storage of vehicles, boats, parts, accessories, shall be enclosed in an area in the rear yard, so we're talking about the west side there, and shall be screened from view by a 6-foot high opaque wall or fence. Now, I noticed you got a block fence on the west side. Does the gate, it's wrought iron, does it need to be opaque also?
The wrought iron on the south here.
Yeah, right there where you enter the,
I think we've had discussion with them on that gate.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
There's 2 different gates that are supposed to have
The slats.
slits in between the wrought iron.
Okay.
Yes.
I think the north gate is already taken care of.
Okay.
The north gate is already taken care of. For something similar to go up on the south gate, if required, is not a problem.
well. I don't know, there was a little clause here in E about the amount of vehicles that could be stored outside on that west area, and it gave a formula, 1 vehicle per 400. In the documents it gave us, there's no square footage on any of the buildings.
Once again, this is for a conditional use permit. It is not a major site plan, and the major site plan that actually created this site and these buildings was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission a couple
Yeah,
years
to
ago.
have boxes of paper in them and stuff like that. We're talking a little different application, but it goes a long way if we have good information. You
Well,
know
once
how I
again, if-
like numbers, Phil. So,
We'll get that to you. We'll get that to you,
okay.
Commissioner.
My question to staff, for the conditional use permit, does it apply to the entire property, or it can be limited just to the one building?
It runs with the property as it physically exists. So it would be for the entire potential usage or individual usages on the site.
That brings up a good question, though. That's a very good question. So it applies for the property as a whole. So so let's say a tenant in the first building now wants to put an automotive repair shop there. They can do that with this conditional use permit.
Yes.
So that wouldn't have to go back through fire marshal, nothing for that new automotive repair
Well, if
shop.
the occupancy changed and a new tenant came in there through the licensing process and checking what they have there, there would always be that mechanism in place anytime there's a change in occupancy.
Or a tenant improvement.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else?
No, I already talked about it.
Well, I found the square feet in the project description, so I'll just do the quick math on that one. So they can have 13.6 vehicles up. Good to know.
What about buses?
Well, that's a vehicle.
That's a
It's
vehicle,
not a
right?
boat, so.
4 wheels, right?
I mean, I was expecting a yacht.
Well, we can vote it.
I'm not sure there's enough business for that here, but maybe.
Vice Chair Scott, if I can, I know the formula might come out to 13, but if there's just buses parked in front, like in that alleyway, they could be cited. They can't just, even though it can be 13, if there's only 3 parking spots, 4 parking spots right there, they're capped at that 4 there. That 13 would apply to if they have some in the storage behind as well. Yeah.
And that is
West side.
specified within the lease agreements.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be any exterior lighting on the west side of that building that might impede the privacy of that trailer, your neighbor there?
There is exterior lighting on that, but again, that was already shown in the previous major site plan.
Okay.
It's already in place.
And it's already in place, yes, it's been in place, the lighting for probably well over 6 months now.
Unless it would go through a tenant improvement if they want to add more lighting for that.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions?
What's the noise level gonna be like? Are you guys gonna be running impact wrenches during the day? And
During the regular business hours, again, I'm not going to speak on behalf of the tenants for that. They're doing the regular business operations during regular business operation hours.
Okay,
Yeah, it's mainly between 7 and 5, I think it is. Yeah, 7:30 and 5.
all right, I'm done.
That it?
Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Okay. I'm gonna,
Open it to
any
the
other
public.
questions? Okay, I'm gonna open it to the public. Floor is now open for a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please step to the podium and state your name and address. No one coming? I'm gonna close the public hearing. And I will entertain a motion to pass School PZ 2050408.
I'll make a motion to approve Cool PZ 25-0408 and Resolution 25-03.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll get you guys to sign this here, since you're here. I'll have the chair and our legal counsel sign that, and then we'll get it recorded. We'll have you guys sign this, and then I'll get them to sign it here, and then we'll record it. Sorry. It's the seat. Everything's fine. Yeah, I mean, obviously, but keep the tenants in line too, you know, so. All right, cool.
Conditional use permit application requested by
You bet, no problem. All right, we'll talk to you guys later, okay?
Texas Land Engineers Incorporated on behalf of STRR Investments LLC for a Taco Bell location and drive-through associated with a convenience food restaurant as listed in the General Service C3 zoning district under section 603.D-10 on a 2-acre site located southeast of the intersection of North Arizona Boulevard, Highway 87, and Gateway Manor Place, Coolidge, Arizona. APN number 203-13-10120.
I forgot to pass it around.
Bill?
All right, we are doing,
Taco Bell.
that's right. You okay, Taco Bell?
John already.
Yes, very good people we've been working with here.
We've got two gentlemen from Texas sitting here.
Yes, we do.
For us to
Know it well. I spent a year living in Houston, so I know it well where they're from. The conditional use permit for the Taco Bell restaurant is for the drive-through. Y'all know the general location here, just north of the canal, just off of Arizona Boulevard. The land use, as seen in the generally pink here, is business and commerce, as is the Safeway Plaza. You can see we have a variety of nearby differentiating land uses, as is the zoning. The zoning in this case is the light blue, the C3. C2 is the Safeway Plaza, and once again, quite a bit of differential, living side by side, different types of zoning uses here. The site here on the top, looking generally southwest in this direction here, is across Gateway Manor Place from the adjacent property. As we come to the lower left photo here, you can see the site generally looking northeast from Arizona Boulevard, Highway 87. And then this might look a little more familiar here, looking southeast from the intersection of Gateway Manor Place and Arizona Boulevard. And if you happen to have noticed the last couple days, but this intersection is all finished up here. It's all nice blacktop. There's some nice striping there and stuff. So it's a nice entrance into our Taco Bell here. So our applicant here, as sometimes applicants do, has actually more than just prepared the site plan. They've actually prepared the entire civil engineering package to show kind of their commitment. So with that said, this is the cover page. The subject site, which exists currently as a parcel of both this parcel 1 and 2, but as part of the approvals that might be obtained this evening, they would then lot split, creating the parcel 1, which would be the Taco Bell, and then later on parcel 2 could be some other similar type of restaurant use. It's not been specifically stated. That's not a guarantee, but that obviously is an opportunity. Now, as we go on to the site plan, since I was talking about the lot split, let me emphasize that basically that is that line here. So you can see where the Taco Bell is, where the next future site might be. And the reason why I bring that up is because, as some of you might recall, these two parcels were once upon a time proposed as a hotel. That site plan has since expired. Hopefully they will come back. There is the parcel over here. It might be a smaller footprint, but there's the hopes. No guarantee. Nobody said anything, but maybe that's a hotel or something. With that idea in mind, the access point coming down here would still create the access point to this newly created southern parcel here, and at the same time, too, offer an opportunity to have an interconnecting common area access with this location out here. So if a hotel, okay, that'd be great. And just also point out for the B parcel here that there would be the 2 points of access from here and here. So a little bit of an inventory. Some of this is more of the site plan stuff, but nevertheless, since this is the first time we're going over it. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You okay?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
yeah,
So, I understand in the write-up of the conditional use permit, it was 1 acre. So
no, it's actually 2 acres creating two
Right.
1-acre parcels.
right, so they own both.
Yes, they do.
They own, so what the possibility of the second acre parcel would be they sell, or the corporation that owns Taco Bell chooses to put their type of restaurant owned by them there?
Yes, the operator, and by the way, the applicant representatives from Texas, once again, are here. Their client actually owns quite a few of these locations and operates other restaurant business locations. So it might be something in line with that they actually continue to develop themselves.
And I'm assuming then that they're moving out of KFC?
You know what? Since that's a business question, I'll let them answer that after the presentation here.
All right, sorry, I just
Okay.
wanted to clarify.
Okay. All right. So once again, kind of covering some of the site plan stuff, but once again, this is the permit aspect for the drive-through as we've been doing this. So we talked about the access coming off of Gateway Manor here that would serve the adjacent property, the newly created B parcel here. What you'll see is basically the main intended entrance is coming in this direction here. So you could have people coming in through the drive-through here. The drive-through is situated to have up to potential 9 cars in the drive-through lane here. The reason why this has been designed this way to only be an ingress point is because the amount of space that's necessary to achieve basically this and this and this without going into too much detail basically leaves only this room. But furthermore, since the property line is a little bit different over here as it jogs right here, and the speed of coming off of the northbound lanes of Arizona Boulevard, this provides an opportunity really to just have this basically come around here. So to still facilitate the 2 points of access here, and this is not that uncommon. So you would come off of here, drive around here, and access it through this point. And some people might miss it, so you'd still have the opportunity here. But there would be striping and signage that would be called out to say the exit is going around this way. And that would be basically the way that the site operates. The traffic impact analysis would support that. Once again, just talking about the site, about 2,100 square feet here. The individual parking spaces sized to the requirements that we have here, as is the handicap spaces and the garbage disposal right there. So once again, just covering it, you have to have so much of a width from a setback from the property line, the depth of the parking, the width of the travel aisle, more parking relative to the footprint that does work here. This, by the way, is like an outdoor dining area here. And then the width that is required for the drive-through, and then, of course, additional area here for combination of retention, landscaping, and distribution of those things. So it's a very tight but well-designed site. Yeah.
Does the drive-through, when they pull out, do they go with the arrows and go back around? And
They
go
would.
out the backside?
Right. You can see the way that this is
Yeah.
purposely curved right here.
I see an arrow going out the other way.
Yeah.
So
So it's going to be a combination of things: signage, striping, and then the actual curb work that will indicate the correct ways to go. So basically, that's basically the rundown of that, other than just kind of sharing the bells and whistles, landscaping, and inordinate amount of landscaping. Purposely chosen word because they're going to make this site look beautiful, as you can see right here. Way beyond our landscaping requirements, so that's greatly appreciated. The type of building that we've talked to them about, this is referred to as the Santa Fe style, which is kind of a nicer aspect. So we would kind of look forward to seeing this type of design here. Now in the major site plan, I've actually got a couple of photos that they had shared that I put in here because I thought I'd be going there first. But here you can see where the drive-through site is, where the drive-through window is here. You can see some of the patio area out here that would invite some people to actually kind of sit. You know, granted, it's Taco Bell, it's not a total sit-down place, but still dining inside, but, you know, a nice place to invite people to sit outside and, you know, maybe even see the sunset behind the monument and stuff. Would really be nice. So I think we got a great proposal here. Once again, this is the conditional use permit to basically establish the drive-through. So applicant is here. I ask you, Mr. Chair, to invite them to come to the podium and talk about the business a little bit as far as splitting off from the KFC and any other questions that you might have.
Howdy, how are y'all? Good, John. Good. John Gertis, Houston, Texas. Represent Texas Land Engineer, Taco Bell franchise owner. He probably has about 400 different franchises. Some of them being Taco Bell, some being KFC, Pizza Hut, a few others. So like Bill was saying, he has a couple of different restaurants. So Taco Bell is his big push right now. They have incentives for him. So as of right now this year, we'll have 10 ground up Taco Bells. Some in Arizona, some in Texas. We got a couple in Nevada possibly. So we'll see how the year goes.
Okay. Is the one inside of KFC going to close down?
It is not. What it will be is it'll be a decouple. We'll take the Taco Bell out and it'll be solely a KFC. Okay. It's kind of something that Taco Bell and KFC have been working with. They actually function better separated.
Too many people getting in each other's way. Yeah.
I don't know exactly why, you know. I eat both. I mean, they'd be fine if they're in the same place, but.
It really, it's good, but there's just too many people in that one congested area.
Right.
And it doesn't work real good.
Correct.
I agree with you.
And also, let me throw out on the hotel portion, my understanding is they are not gone. We have been coordinating with the guys who are doing the hotel. They're just sliding it over. We were hoping to have a site plan to show you. They have our CAD drawings and all our site plan and all our prep work. They just didn't quite get to their stuff fast enough. But is their intent still to move forward with that? Because I heard that comment earlier.
Good news.
All right.
Okay. Any questions for John?
I noticed that you didn't receive any comments from, do you know roughly how many invitations were sent out? Or letters? Notices, I guess is what they call
I have no idea.
them? Okay.
300 feet, anybody within 300 feet. Now, that's it.
Mr. Tom, Commissioner, Vice Chair, I would have to go back and look, but I believe it was about 25 to 30, so.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
And it's blocked off from with the canal being close by, it's blocked off from the subdivision on the other side there.
Yeah, I
And
used to
then
live
block
there,
walls-
that's why.
Block walls behind it, so the lighting and stuff won't affect it. That's really a good location there.
Yeah.
The client thinks so.
So it looks like it's the same, I think I've seen this design before, heading up I-10 towards on the right-hand side,
Correct,
going up towards Tucson.
correct, which, Marana.
Marana. Okay. I'm very familiar with that project.
We sent images of that. That is the same contractor that did that one would be the one we rolled.
Yep.
So it'd
okay.
be the exact same style, the exact same. The architects and the other MEP and structural, they're pulling those plans together as we speak. They should be probably ready in the next week or two to be for submittal.
Okay.
So you plan to break ground real soon.
Real quick.
If everything goes right, the client would like to have it built this year.
Wow, that's quick.
He's, like I said, there's incentives for him to move quickly.
Okay.
So with the,
Thanks, John.
All right, thank you.
let's see here. So with the lot split, has it already been discussed with APS to put power towards that second lot? Or any sort of utilities for that second lot?
Yeah, there's existing, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so what we have right now is, this is for the drive-through. So this is just basically requesting the drive-through. We have it on the roadside, so it's not to interfere with anybody, and it's all commercial around us. So the speaker box is pretty far away from everyone. The master site plan that we turned everything in, we have planned for the second track to be developed in such a manner that we provided water, sewer, power, and gas to them. So not to block them off, and then we'll be establishing an access easement on both driveways so that they have full development. And to take it one step further, we also did the hydraulics for it, and we sized ours to intercept their flow, told them what size pipe to put in the ground, and they'll be approved for drainage as well. So when whoever comes on board, their life should be really easy.
So it's a plug and play.
But everybody can mess stuff up.
All right. Yeah, that was just my main question I had here because of the parcel split, making sure that there was.
Yes, when we reviewed the MLD, the Minor Land Division, there were existing egress for utilities and vehicular traffic that accommodate basically that whole property and allowed access to across lot lines.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just difficult to see on the plans on here, that's all.
Well, there's another drawing that shows it, and I think we'll
Yeah.
probably be rolling into that next.
It's noted on the cover page.
Okay. Open it to the public. Anybody from the public want to speak? No one here? Public hearing's closed.
They're gonna have to take this with them for the owner to sign, so we'll get everybody here to sign it.
I'll motion to approve Cool PZ 25-05-09 and Resolution 25-04.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Cool PD 250510, a major site plan application submitted by John Gertis of Texas Land Engineers on behalf of STRR Investments LLC for a Taco Bell location in the General Service Zoning District under Section 602C.57 and 6023C for a principally permitted restaurant used on a 2-acre site as located southeast of the intersection of North Arizona Boulevard, Highway 87, and Gateway Manor Place, Coolidge, Arizona, APN number 203-13-120. Phil.
This site may look familiar. This is a major site plan for the Taco Bell restaurant. Once again, this is our location relative to the canal, to Arizona Boulevard. Inventorying the business and commerce land use district up here with Safeway. The zoning is C3 in the light blue. Our site plan basically is looking to the southwest this way to the adjacent property. This building would basically be about right here. Looking at the site generally northeast, basically by the canal almost towards the Safeway. And lastly over here, we're looking southeast, excuse me, that was southwest, or northeast. This is southeast looking from where the recent road improvements is going on. And once again, the building would pretty much sit right about in this area right here. So once again, we have our lot split situation. We talked about the access, the physical size, both being just about exactly 1 acre each of the parent parcel, who is 2 acres. The site plan itself relative to all the parking, the travel lanes, more parking, sidewalks, ADA accessible, the footprint, the width of the drive-through, and then the very adequately accessed area of open space and landscaping, literally creating almost a perfect box from east to west, north to south here. It literally fits perfectly and meets all the numbers. So once again, our landscaping here, a very wide abundance of landscaping that will look very nice in just a couple of years. This is the other slide that I didn't have for the other one, but you can see some of the base materials and colors that they would use, an actual representation of what it would look like in real life with a patio area here. Like I said, you could be sitting here looking towards this direction, watching the sun set behind the monument, enjoying a taco. Sounds like a good time to me. Our drive-through over here, and the colors, and then the flip side of what it would look like on the other side of the parking lot, basically south of it looking north in this case right here. So that's basically, and then back to our architecturals. So that's the major site plan. Once again, the applicant is available to answer any questions, as I am, Mr. Chair, and I turn it back over to you.
To the public? You answered all the questions already, John. I tried to please. Good. No one from the public wishes to speak. Public hearing is closed. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve Cool PZ 25-05-10.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Welcome to Coolidge, John.
Thank you very much.
You're gonna love it here.
Sir, I already love the golf. Well, hang on, it won't be long until they're done. Let me get you to sign it, and you can take it.
Okay.
When you turn it back to me, the city clerk sign it. So, a few days.
James, you have a report for us?
Yes, sir. I know we skipped last month. It's good to have you all back. I'm glad to thank you for all attending. We have a lot of projects going around town. We have monthly meetings with the Arizona Water Company regarding these projects. We have Sundance 3 coming online, older projects. They've been in the books for a while, so they're starting their civil work on the site. And if If you're familiar with it, it's North Main, kind of in the corner of the canal and the train track, west of the train track area. So that'll be good to get them going. Coolidge Gateway Manor, they're pulling several permits. They're really going. They've already got houses painted. Landscaping going in. The entry to the road on the Gateway Drive, they paved it, so that was good to see. On Ruins Drive, you see they've completed some of the sidewalks along there, so we're hoping to get that paved, sooner than later. Phil, do we have any other things you could think of?
Multiple different commercial and residential or mixed-use components, just still in discussion. Some we could talk about, a lot of them we can't, but there's definitely the intent of, and the promise that there will be plenty of things coming before the Planning and Zoning Commission in the next 6 to 12 months, so.
We went out for an RFP for the apron and taxiway project at the airport. So those bids close Monday. So we'll have a bid opening on Monday afternoon to see what those came in at. So that'll be a good project to kick off. The federal government is giving us a 95% match on those grants. So that really helped out. We're completing the ASIPs next month. The ASIPs for the ADOT are due, so we're discussing our 5-year plan for the airport and trying to allocate, budgets and figure out the CIPs and what projects are next in line according to our master plan. The wind hangar out there, they're hopefully next week they'll have connected all their water, their fire, and their domestic. So they're completing their 33,000 square foot hangar facility, which will be nice to get them in that. We do have some other tenants looking at us now, so that's good to see. So revenues are really kicking up out there. So with the park, we started I'm excited about the park. We started the CADX on it. 2 days ago, I signed the paperwork to submit and send it to all the tribes, SHPO, the cultural and biological surveys, and get the SHPO approved. So within 6 months or less, we're hoping to get that reviewed and approved, and that will allow us to go after a grant, and it's a match grant. So it'll match what we have in our impact fees. So we have about $1.2 million in impact fees. So they'll match that for phase 1. And basically, we've got a grant for the dog park. We're working on phase 1, the grading. Basically, the whole site will be graded to some extent because we have to borrow dirt, for that phase 1 part of it. So now we just need to sell that corner lot that we entitled. We have had no takers on that, unfortunately, but I have it going through December of this year. So if anybody could recommend it to the developers, it'd be appreciated. But we're moving forward with it, so I'm excited.
That's gonna be what, 40 acres?
It's a 60-acre site, basically. The phase 1 is 6.5 acres, and we're estimating we're gonna do it in 3 phases. So it might go more than that. So, it just depends on funding and when that shows up. If we get a rich uncle or something that'll help us out with it. Any other questions, Commissioners?
Nope. Not for me. Anybody else? Nope. Dick, you got anything you wanna say?
I don't.
Did we do okay tonight?
We did.
I didn't screw up.
Call to the public.
Call to the public, yeah.
Okay. Call to the public. Nobody jumping up. Can I have a motion?
We'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?